So, do you guys remember in the last video where I said that Lotro was going to come out with some new character customization soon? Well, it was actually sooner than I expected because they came out with it the day before I posted that video out. So now this is a video going over the new character customization options that are available specifically just to the man race as of now in Lord of the Rings Online. Before we do that though, I actually want to take a look at the release notes just to see what Lotro devs kind of have to say about the character customizations, and I'll also show you how the customizations look, what new features are available, and we'll just kind of chat about it. I'd love to get your feedback on this, honestly, because it's definitely something to process, I'll say. Before you do that, make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Also check out some of the videos I have linked down below in a playlist to help you with everything you need to know about Lord of the Rings Online. Alright, so you can actually check out these release notes for yourself if you were to go on Lord of the Rings Online, and then you could actually go in the forums, and I'm sure you could find them there, or you can just go into the game launcher, like the mini launcher, when you put in your username and pass, and then they actually have the release notes on there currently. But here's what we're looking at. So here's where the devs kind of talk about the character customization that is available now. Only for the race of men at the moment, the humans. I love how they put that in parentheses. But here it just says that it lets players express themselves in new ways. Want to make sure every player feels represented in the game as possible, and we are introducing new character creation options for your face, hair, and body. So we have a lot of different opportunities is what it sounds like, not only from hairstyles, or even just more facial features that we could probably play with. And especially with body build, I really felt like that actually lacked the most out of everything. Like hairstyles and stuff, we had enough to get through, nothing too crazy, but I do feel like that there was not enough diversity in some of the features. So I'm glad that they're actually addressing it and they're going to make some changes for that. And then here they just wrap it up with saying, oh yeah, there is still a lot more work to do for future updates and all that, so just keep an eye out, which go Standing Stone. So proud of you guys. I love this. This is like the most important thing I wanted to highlight before we actually check it out. But here are some things to note. Your existing characters remain mostly unchanged, although we have some updated textures to improve their look. So don't worry, it's not like they went in and they like changed all of like your features of your character now your character looks completely different. Nope, they are keeping your characters the same plain old way they were before. You could go to the barber just to access some of the new features in case you did want to change one of your like existing characters. The second point says there are now more shared options between genders, including hair and beard styles where applicable. You can have a bearded lady. I would love that. That's so cool. And then last point is the body proportion range has been increased, which, okay, thank you. But I almost felt like there should have been more in here, but whatever. We're gonna check it out now, and I want to hear your thoughts on the new customizations. All right, so I just logged in and I'm about to go check out my two man human races that I have for my characters already. So here is my lore master. My lore master guy. She looks pretty much the same. I don't really tell any texture differences, maybe like a little with the complexion, mostly like within her face, near her nose and like her eyes, like the lighting is different. Let's check out the other one though. Oh my god, she looks so good. Her eyebrows look longer, they look like more in depth. Definitely look a lot better, and like her skin, oh my god, it just looks like porcelain. Like it actually looks like skin. Like before, what you would see in the characters, it almost looks like pixels. I mean, I don't know what else to say, they just look like pixels. But now it's like you can actually see like some of like that roughness kind of even out a little bit more, and they really try to smooth things over. So definitely appreciate that just in the little updates. But let's go check out what some of the new customizations can look like. All right, guys, so as you can tell, nothing's really changed on the left side. I mean, they didn't mention anything about origin, but I don't really necessarily see too many changes with this. Yeah, it all looks exactly the same. I guess origin doesn't matter too much anymore, but look at these options. Look at how many options there are. This is overwhelming. This is quite overwhelming. Check out some of the presets first. I just want to see like what some of their like go-to character customizations look like. Oh my gosh. It looks so good. So this was like the original kind of looking model for any of the man race, or I guess in this case for females. This is sort of what that looked like. So now you can kind of see that there's actually like a little more like smoothness to the face, kind of how I mentioned on my previous character too. But now it's like you have all these other options. I want to do a randomizer just to get a feel and an idea for it. I'm actually then going to go back and look at like the man and see what some of the randomizations for that is, and if their customizations are any different, and then we'll come back to here and then we'll kind of like go through more in depth. Oh my gosh, see, you could do like a little stubble of like hair. All right, so this is like the same initial like default model, we'll kind of say, for like a look for your character. Let's randomize. Oh my gosh, even the man looks so different. Look at the wrinkles. I love the detail. Okay, so they have 9 facial hair, but the women only had 8. What's up with that? All right, so I hop back over to the female. One thing that I want to note that really pops out is that there's actually more like base options available, which I feel is really critical because I actually play Star Wars: The Old Republic as well as Lord of the Rings Online. So I like to compare the two a lot. So I'm gonna compare a lot of this like customization. I'm gonna compare a lot to SWTOR. But in SWTOR, they actually had options that are very similar now to like what this new base amount is for Lotro. Like in SWTOR, they had hairstyles of like up to 50 hairstyles, which I thought was outrageous, and I loved it because I love the hair color options, and they even had more color options. They had more head choices than in Lord of the Rings Online. So I'm so glad that Lotro's finally kind of getting up to speed and adding all that in, because it is pretty detrimental and it can kill some people's experiences not having enough choices. And I felt like having like only like 20 some hairstyles available was a little bit of a killer. I really didn't like that I only had 20 hairstyles to pick from, and then they all kind of seemed to be about the same. Some of them were like pretty minor choices, because like it would be a bun up, and then like the next hairstyle choice would be like the bun, the same exact bun but with bangs. Like it's just like not much of a difference. Like give me more variety. So I'm glad that we have more variety for sure. One thing too I really hope that they have is that I want a character that doesn't have such a round face. I'm someone who has a very pointy like chin, you know, see? But I have a really pointy chin, so I kind of wanted to have a character that mirrored that in some extent. So I hope that they have that option available now. There's actually like a very big difference between the complexion now, because I felt like with some of the complexion options you would actually get like wrinkles or freckles depending on which complexion you had. And now I actually don't see that. It actually seems to kind of affect more like around like your face and stuff, like your lighting overall. I really appreciate this. There's actually 2 details options now, so I actually think that could possibly be like adding in freckles and then like a scar or something along those lines, which is nice that they have 2 different options for that now. All right, so now for the exciting part is the hairstyles. Let's see what the new hairstyles look like. Oh my gosh. See, you can tell which ones are new because there's definitely like a finer detail. Like these are supposed to represent like dreadlocks and such. See, like here, this is my kind of hair. Like that's my hair. I've got like ringlet curls like this, and it's pretty outgrown. Like this hairstyle is essentially, this is me. But like you can tell definitely that there's more finer details. Like you can just see like some of the like contrasting like black like pixels kind of. Looks a little rough, but I'm for it. Like you can definitely see like the higher quality or attention to detail that there is in comparison to the older hairstyles. I'm glad they added in like more diverse curly dreadlock type of hairstyles. Oh my god, I can have 2 colored eyes. Oh, I can be blind. I could be blinded. Dude, that's sick. That's so cool. Oh my gosh, and then they could be like half blind. Like one eye is blind and the other can see. That's so cool. I'm glad with the eyebrows they actually added like more like hair to most of them. Like before it just seemed like lines, and now it definitely seems like you have more options to have like hairier brows. I actually feel like the mouth changed the most out of everything so far, because it actually seems like a literal looking mouth. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but before, like, your lips would be so incredibly thin, and maybe it's because I have the randomizer on when I started this, but I definitely do feel like that there are more changes into like your lip structure, which is really cool. And then for the hair color, that's actually something I really enjoy. I love everything about like the hairstyle and the hair color. I feel like that makes my character. So I'm glad that they actually added in like a more gradient looking color selection, and they did this for essentially everything. So I like that they added a different way of showing like the different colors and then showing the darker tones. I think that this kind of got wider of a selection because I would see like occasionally, like you always started and you'd always get like a really bright blonde, and then you could kind of go through more to the right, and then that would be like where your brunette would be at the top, and then on the bottom it was just like nothing but like pitch black hair, and I didn't understand that, and I didn't like that. So I'm glad that they kind of laid this out a little different. Like, they still kind of have it. Like, up here, it's like, okay, you could be like super, super blonde, and then if you come down a little bit, you're gonna be more like darker, like a brunette blonde. But I like that they at least laid it out that you can kind of see like your different hair colors in terms of like kind of going from left to right. You can even do like a little pink now. Like, that's kind of cool. It's like very light ginger. Looks like pink. And then also the eye colors are so extremely different now. Like, they're so freaking bright and noticeable. Look at that. Look at my dark blue eyes. And then this kind of seems like how it used to be. It would be like, okay, you got green, and it's decent. Like, you can tell they're green, but it was never that super bright. And then lip color, I honestly don't see too much of a difference in this, but I'll just kind of give you a couple of ideas. So like, it's mostly just kind of like in terms of lighting, I guess, of what the like lip color looks like, but that's something that you can also play with as well. And then what I'm really pumped for is the body type. Now here it just looks like a slider still, which I kind of wish that there was more. Like, I wish they had like your like hips and like your bust, like if you could change those on like their own sliders. That's kind of what I expected to see, but who knows, maybe this is kind of similar. Okay, so you can definitely tell that this is like your default like straight, like kind of slim looking person, and then here you get like heavier in the bust, and then from there if you slide a little more, then it all kind of evens out. Which is cool. That's kind of like how the old setting was. And then here you would kind of slim, super like be very like stick like, and then you can kind of like go more in like your waist and stuff like that expands first, and then like your bust kind of like fills out with it. So that's something just to kind of keep an eye about. I mean, slightly different, nothing too different in my opinion, nothing too crazy. I mean, it kind of seems the same. I don't know why they would highlight this portion of the customization, because I feel like there are other things that were mentioned that have a lot more new features to them. But with the body type, like, yeah, they kind of increased it, but it's not that noticeable in my opinion. So here is like all the additional customizations that they added. So here is your head customization, and then you have your nose customization, you have your jaw, your mouth, and eyes. So you can actually change all of these. So let's kind of scroll in and see what we can do here. Ooh, the head width customization is really cool. You can definitely tell a difference. I like that a lot because it can also expand like a little bit of your hair. It gives you more space. And I'm really glad that they added this in because it gives you kind of more to move around, play with scale and all of that. The brows are a little wild. This is wild. You can change this. I've not seen this in any MMO yet that I'm aware of. I mean, granted, I don't play that many other MMOs, but I haven't seen this option available. I'm very curious as to why you necessarily need this though. That's just something, me personally, I don't think I would mess with this too much. But the height is really cool because you can like essentially like do emotes essentially. Like you can kind of give your character an emotion like all the time. Like here my character, she gonna be ticked off all the time going into Miller. She's like, what am I here to do? Like what quest do you got me running around in now? Yeah, here she's like, okay, like, I'm listening to you. This seems slightly important, but I'm still just a little mad with my inner brow here. Still a little mad that I can't be sleeping on my couch right now, you know? Snarl, that's kind of cool. I feel like some of this, though, you can kind of tell. I don't know if it's just the settings I have on currently, but you can just kind of tell where the pixels start to, like, appear. That it looks so smooth right now, but like here with the cheeks and all, when I stretch it and like kind of make it more brought down, you could definitely see around the eye like where some of that roughness comes back into play. So I guess it's just something to kind of keep an eye out, I guess, because it just looks more, it definitely looks different. It looks odd, and maybe it's just me, but I guess that's something just to kind of keep in mind while you're creating your new characters. Oh, and we have ear options, so I'm gonna put my hair up for my character. Oh my gosh, so our characters actually have ears now? They used to have ears, but they were like a big block of a pixel. They were like this small. They're like the size of my fist, essentially. It's like this. It's like this size. I know, y'all probably think I'm crazy. It's like this size of an ear, and this ear currently is like a good like this size, like a good this size. Anyway, I know I'm not making any sense, but like there's actually like an ear lobe that I see before, like it was just a line, like, oh yeah, this is a line indicating like where your ear inside of your ear is, and now I actually feel like there's like some depth. Oh my gosh, so I'm so excited for this when they put this on elves, because if you could change like the pointiness of your ear, that would be so cool. And then if you change your ear scale, you could have like a smaller ear, like an elf ear. That'd be so cool. Man, this is insane. You can even change the rotation of your ear. This is cool. I wish they had more rotation features available, I guess, because I actually like that I can kind of like change the positioning just ever so slightly. That's so wild. You could change your ear. That's just, wow, that's cool. All right, so now we're at the nose. So I want to see, I don't see like a nose rotation. Could do nose nostril height. You can definitely tell they added more like shading to your nose too. Nose tip scale, you can change your nose tip and the height of your nose tip. Yeah, so on the nose position, I can only move it up or down. I can't like tilt it slightly. So that kind of is something I wish that they would incorporate in the future. Man, you can even change your nose bridge height. I feel like my nose is way too skinny. Like it's just such a straight on nose. What have I done? Is it just me, but I think it's my eyebrows make my eyes feel like I'm slightly more slanted, like on the left. Like this just doesn't look as even, which I mean is pretty realistic, so no issues there. But I definitely feel like there's something just not even about this, and there's not like an option to change that at all. So I don't know if it's just me or if anyone else feels like that. Let me know down below in the comments if you feel like your like other side maybe is like more higher than the other side, because I feel like my left side is just slightly lower than my right side of my face. Could just be my scars just throwing me off too. All right, so now let's look at the jaw, and like I mentioned, I was hoping to have like a pointy chin, and I don't really see much options for that. I can change like how noticeable my jaw is, I guess, like my jaw line. And then I could change the height. That's pretty crazy. I actually prefer when they only have like the 5 options available. I almost feel like they need to close all of these extra customization windows when you first get in the game and then allow you to expand them. This is so overwhelming when you come into this, you're brand new out of the game. Like just now, I'm actually super overwhelmed with all these options. So like I have to go through and reduce these windows, and in doing so, it makes me feel a little better. There's still like a lot of options and choices, which can be overwhelming, but I will say that I do like that they have the ability to at least reduce the window, but I feel like they should just do that automatically, because I feel like most people aren't going to go through and do the extra customizations, especially when they first start out in the game. I feel like the people who are going to utilize this more are going to be more of your like older players, like any of those players that were gone for a while and then come back to check out the customization options, I feel like they're going to utilize this and they're just going to know that this came out because they're at least keeping up, or maybe they're just watching YouTube videos like this one and they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know about this, and they just know to go look for it. In comparison to just having like everything available, I feel like that's very overwhelming and you might end up losing more people coming to the game, because if I saw this, I'd be like, what the heck is this layout? This game looks crazy. Because like, I'm not gonna lie, I think the biggest thing with this customization, I think they just really need to change the layout, because it's a lot. You get brought into the game, you have to choose your race and then your class, and you have everything on your left side of your panel over here. You have everything on your right side of your panel over here. And you're trying to read everything about your race over here and then trying to read everything about your class. But it's fine because you can see like your character, like models in the middle, and that's like a good amount of like the screen and the color and all of that. So people are probably going to be more drawn to that. Then you get into this area of the customization. It's so busy. I think the one thing that Lotro probably shouldn't have done, I understand why they did it, probably because people never realized that they could enter their name on the top because it was a smaller box, but I really wish they would make this nameplate a lot smaller, because this is so overwhelming. Every time I go to the screen, the first thing I look at is this big old nameplate. I'm like, huh? And it just seems so big for no reason, because still the name portion is just a small box. Then it's like, change your tutorial. Like, why don't you just like shrink this text down and then just add it to the side? I don't know, but that's just how they've laid it out. But then also it's like you have everything about your origin, and then not only that, you see this big mess of these options and sliders, and it is so overwhelming. I think what Lotro needs to implement in the future is to do like different screens. Like SWOTOR, for example, the first option that you choose when you first get in the game, I mean, besides your servers, like Lotro does, but whatever. The first option that you choose when you get into SWOTOR is, are you going to be a dark side character or a light side character? And that is overwhelming in itself. That takes me like back and forth. I'd be going back and forth like for minutes. Like, am I gonna be a dark sider or a light sider? That's an overwhelming choice in itself. And then only from there would you go into the game and then pick your class. And then from there, that's where you would start looking at your character. And the way that they have that laid out, it's just like sliders and different scroll wheels and stuff like that. So it's pretty much kind of like a similar outlook, though it's just presented in a better way in comparison to Lotro, where it's just like, we have these boxes and we have a lot of arrows, and arrows are intimidating right now. I think what Lotro needs to implement in the future is to pick your race. Then from there, could you pick your origin? And then you would go in to pick your class. And then from there, that's when you could start and do the customizations. However, I think that they should start by implementing tiles. Like if you have like just an icon of a head, you click on that tile, then you get like all your head customizations. Then you want to go into like your lip customizations, cool. You close out of that tile, you go into the lip icon, template, whatever, and then you would get all of your lip like changes that you can make. I think that that's something Lotro needs to implement, because right now this is so overwhelming to me. Like, I feel stressed looking at this. Like, it's a lot. I feel so overwhelmed, and I'm someone who's played this game, so like I'm over here geeking out about all the new changes, which are great, no lie, I love them. Though I think if I were a new player coming into this, I would see this screen and I'd be like, this is gonna take me 2 hours to do. I don't want to do it. And then I would click off and find another MMO. I'm not even playing with you. Like, this is a lot. So that's probably like my overall main feedback. And I wasn't trying to like go off on a little rant there, but I think that that's something I would personally prefer, because I just don't like this layout right now. It's overwhelming. I actually have a very hard time concentrating at looking at my character with this sort of a layout, because the nameplate is humongous, like I've mentioned. Then you've got like these two panels. Then the right panel right now is essentially like the equivalent of like a second panel. It's like two panels in one that they've just put all in one panel and put like a massive scroll wheel. You can also change your mouth too. Okay, so I actually really like the lip option because I feel like you can actually make like thicker lips, and I would personally really like to like utilize that more. However, something I would just want to point out real quick is that if you do it too much, you can actually see like some of the lines, like a white line that's kind of peeking through with the pixels from the movement of our character. So just kind of keep that in mind, that maybe you can't really utilize the most of it. I'm sure that they're going to kind of even that out as it go, but it kind of just happens in this game. You know, you win some, you lose some, you know, sometimes pixels just go through and it can be distracting, but it's all right. I really like the corners too. It's like, I'm a little sad today, that it's like, hey, I'm happy, I'm having a great day. And then here we have the eyes. We can separate the eyes. Eye height. See, you can change your eye height, but you can't do them individually either. I feel like they should have some sort of an option to individually change like which side of your eye you want to change and utilize. So that's something maybe that they'll implement in the future, like I've mentioned. Eye rotation. Here we go. We got more rotations. I like the rotation options. I don't see myself necessarily using them too much in the future, though I'm glad that they have them because this isn't even something that SWTOR really offers. So I like this. This is definitely like a step up in comparison to other customizations that I'm aware of. And you can even change your eyelids. I love that. That's so good. So there you have it. That's just sort of like my kind of reaction and feedback to the customization options that are now available. I'm so glad that they implemented it. I'm so glad that they have more diverse options. Trust me, I very much appreciate that standing stone. However, I just want this to be a little more organized. This is a little too much for me. I'm very stressed and I feel like I'm leaning sideways just looking at the screen like, oh my gosh, everything's on the right side now. I gotta go through the scroll wheel. Oh my gosh, oh my god. So that's just what I would personally say. Though let me know down below your comments and feedback and how you feel about all the customization options that are available to the man race now. And I have to say, I was very much like, when they announced this, I was like, what the heck? Why not unleash this for everyone? Why does it only have to be like the humans that get it? I want to utilize this for my elves and hobbits. Though I think that this is mostly just them being like, hey, we put this out here, give us honest feedback. And I'm very glad that they just now did this for just the man race, because this is a lot, and I feel like with elves and like dwarves, there could be even more. And so I'm like, if this is a lot with just the general like humans, and then like you got your like elves who are very ornate and they have a lot of details as it is already, there's just gonna be even more options, and I think it's gonna be pretty overwhelming, even more so than this is now. So I'm glad that they just did it the way that they're doing it and just kind of rolling it out as they go. I definitely encourage you to also put any feedback out to Standing Stone and any of the LOTRO devs that are out there. Make sure that they are aware of your thoughts and feelings, because, you know, I'm over here like, this is overwhelming. So, you know, if I'm saying that, I don't know if you guys are saying that, but if you feel like this is overwhelming too, then maybe that's something that they'll change in the future, but we'll see. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay weird, weirdos.